Darren stood alone on the edge of the rocky hill, looking out at the dusty colony of Vora 7. The sky above was always red and gray, filled with clouds that never gave rain. Wind blew across the flat land, lifting small clouds of sand. People walked below, going to work in the mines or shops. None of them looked up. None of them ever did. For 20 years, they laughed at him. Darren was known in the colony as the man with strange ideas. He believed in a secret city hidden under the mountains, a city built long ago by humans, before even Earth lost contact with the stars. No one else believed such a thing. The miners joked about him. Children made songs to tease him. Even teachers told students not to become like Darren. But Darren didn't stop. Every day, he searched for answers. He read old books, studied old maps, and listened to the stories of older workers who spoke of strange lights or strange dreams near the deep canyons. Most thought he was wasting his life. But Darren felt something inside him, a pull, a call. As if something was waiting. His only friend was an old miner named Boz. Boz walked with a limp and had only one good eye. But he believed Darren. At least a little. One evening, Darren sat with Boz near the fire outside the colony wall. The sun had just dropped behind the sharp peaks of the western hills. "You still thinking about that lost city?" Boz asked, chewing on dry roots. Darren nodded. "I found something new." Boz raised an eyebrow. "What now? A flying rock?" Darren smiled and pulled out a small stone tablet from his bag. It was smooth, black, and flat, with golden symbols etched across its surface. "I found this buried under the sand near the Black Mouth," he said. Boz leaned forward, blinking. "That place is cursed. No one goes near it anymore." "I went," Darren said calmly. "I think this is a piece of something bigger. It's not alien. The symbols look human. Old Earth human." Boz didn't laugh. He stared at the tablet for a long time. Then he gave a deep sigh. "I saw lights near the Black Mouth once, when I was young. I didn't tell anyone. They would have said I was crazy." Darren looked at him with hope. "Help me, Boz. One last trip." "Just to look." Boz shook his head. "My legs won't make it." "But if you go prepared. That place isn't just rock and wind. Something's there." The next morning, Darren packed a small bag. Inside it, he placed the tablet, food. For a few days, a solar light, a rope, and his handmade map. He wore thick boots, a dusty coat, and a breathing mask for the dry air. He didn't tell anyone. No one would believe him. He left at dawn, walking toward the Black Mouth, a deep, narrow canyon on the far side of the hills. The journey took him across sharp rocks, dry rivers, and old mining paths. By the third day, he reached the canyon. The wind here was strange, cold and whispering. The walls of the canyon rose high, and the sky above looked smaller. At the center of the canyon, hidden behind thorny bushes and broken stones, Darren found what he was looking for, a door. It was tall, smooth, and made of black metal. Symbols glowed faintly on its surface, the same kind as on his tablet. He touched the door. Nothing happened. He placed the tablet into a small groove beside the door. The moment it touched, the symbols lit up brightly. A soft hum filled the air. The ground trembled. The door slowly opened. Behind it, a tunnel stretched into darkness. The walls glowed with dim blue light. The air inside was warm, not dry. Darren stood at the edge, heart pounding. He had done it. After 20 years of laughter and shame, he had found something real. He stepped inside. The door slid shut behind him without a sound. The tunnel was quiet. His footsteps echoed as he walked deeper. The walls were made of a metal he had never seen, smooth like glass but hard like steel. Symbols floated on the surface, changing as he moved. He followed the tunnel for what felt like hours. Then, suddenly, the space opened. Darren gasped. Before him lay a massive underground city. Towers of silver rose high into a wide open cavern. Lights floated in the air, moving like fireflies. Roads curved gently around pools of glowing water. The ceilings sparkled like stars. The city was silent, peaceful, alive but empty. He took slow steps forward, his eyes wide with wonder. Machines, shaped like silver balls and cubes, floated past him. Ignoring him, in the center of the city stood a tall tower. On its side was a large statue, a human figure with eyes of gold, wearing an old-style Earth explorer's coat. Darin stared at the statue. It looked like someone who could be from Earth. Someone like him. Suddenly, the statue's eyes lit up. A deep, calm voice filled the air. You are the first to return. Welcome, but return has its cost. Darin turned around quickly. The tunnel he had come from was gone. The door had vanished. There was no way out. He was trapped, but he didn't feel fear. He felt wonder, and the beginning of something greater. Darin stood still, staring at the empty space where the door had been. The tunnel that brought him inside the city was gone. No trace, no crack, nothing. It was as if it had never existed. His heart beat fast. He looked around, hoping to find another exit. But the city was too big, too silent, and too strange. He walked slowly through the wide path ahead. The road was made of shining black stone, smooth and warm under his boots. On both sides were buildings made of silver and crystal, with tall windows and glowing symbols. The floating lights above moved gently, as if they were alive, watching him. No people, no sound. Just the hum of the city and the beat of his own heart. Darin whispered to himself, "Where am I?" Suddenly, a soft blue light appeared in front of him. It floated in the air like a bubble. Then it changed shape, becoming a smooth, spinning cube. It hovered silently. Darin took a step back. The cube turned slowly, then moved forward as if asking him to follow. He looked around. There was nothing else, just strange towers and quiet machines. He decided to follow. The cube led him down a long path, past empty gardens with glowing plants and small fountains that poured liquid light instead of water. The deeper they went, the more beautiful and complex the city became. Buildings curved like waves. Trees had leaves made of crystal. Statues of humans stood proudly at street corners. He noticed something strange. Every statue was different, but all had one thing in common. They looked like Earth explorers. Thick boots, jackets, data pads, even helmets. Some held tools. Others pointed to the stars. Who were they? Darin whispered. The cube paused at the entrance of a large hall. Its doors opened on their own. Inside, a giant round room glowed softly. In the middle, a table floated in the air. Around it were screens, symbols, and machines that turned slowly. As Darin entered, a voice spoke again, the same voice that came from the statue before. You are inside Orolon. Darin looked up. The voice came from a glowing ring at the top of the room. This city was built by the first travelers, humans, who left Earth long ago. They searched for peace. They found this place. They built Orolon with knowledge, light, and time. Darin was stunned. Humans built this, not aliens? Correct. Long before Earth lost contact with its colonies, the first travelers came. They were dreamers, builders, explorers. But something happened. War. Fear. They hid this city to protect it and to wait for someone to return. Darin stepped forward. Why me? The room was silent for a moment. Then the voice answered, You believed. For 20 years, you searched. You listened to stories others ignored. You carried the key. You opened the door. Now you must walk the path. The floating table lit up. A glowing map appeared. It showed the city's layout: roads, towers, deep tunnels, and something below it all. A place marked only with one word, core. Darin pointed. What's in the core? The answer. Before he could ask more, the table shut down. The cube turned again and floated toward a side door. Darin followed. He had no choice. As he moved deeper into the city, the path became harder. Roads turned into ramps. Doors became puzzles. One door didn't open until he placed his hand on a strange panel. Another needed him to speak a word from the tablet he had brought. Everything seemed designed for humans, but not just any humans. Humans with curiosity, patience, strength. He climbed a long staircase made of light. On the way, he passed screens showing images, videos from long ago. He saw humans building the city, laughing, planting glowing trees, teaching children, flying strange ships. It was beautiful, but also sad. They were gone. And now only he remained. Hours later, Darren reached a large circular plaza. In the center stood another statue, this one much taller, with arms raised to the sky. Under it was a round pool of silver liquid. The cube stopped. Darren stepped forward and looked into the pool. It reflected not his face, but memories. He saw himself as a young man, standing in front of a crowd who laughed at him. He saw his mother telling him to give up the idea of lost cities. He saw Boz warning him about the black mouth. Then he saw something new, a vision of himself older, stronger, standing inside the tower at the city's heart, speaking to a crowd of humans wearing explorer suits. The pool went still. The voice returned. The city is testing you. This is the path of the Guardian. Darren stepped back. Guardian? Orlan needs a guide, a voice, a mind to lead and protect it. You are not the first to walk this path, but you may be the last. Darren felt pressure in his chest. The idea of being the city's guardian was heavy. He only came to prove the city was real. He didn't plan for more, but something deep inside whispered, "You were born for this." The cube moved again, leading him down a narrow bridge across a glowing chasm. At the end was a tall door made of light and metal. The voice spoke once more. "This door leads to the core, but once you pass, you cannot go back. Choose with care." Darren stood before the door, his heart filled with fear and wonder. He looked back one last time. The road behind him was empty. He looked forward. The door waited. He took a deep breath and stepped through. As Darren stepped through the tall glowing door, everything around him changed. The light behind him faded, and a soft golden glow filled the space ahead. The air felt warmer now, but it wasn't hot. It felt welcoming. The hallway ahead was not made of stone or metal. It looked like glass, but it did not break under his feet. Strange symbols floated along the walls. They moved like waves, changing shape as Darren passed them. At the end of the hallway stood another door, large and round, like the eye of a giant machine. When he got close, it opened slowly without sound. Darren stepped into a vast open chamber. His eyes widened. The city he had seen before was only a part of Orlan. This new place was hidden deep beneath it, a true heart of the city. The chamber was enormous, shaped like a dome. Its ceiling sparkled with soft blue lights like a sky full of stars. In the center of the room stood a giant black tower, taller than any building he had seen on the surface. Around the tower were floating platforms, slowly circling it. Machines moved across the air, silent, glowing, almost like flying insects. Some were round, some were flat, but all of them worked without stopping. In front of the tower stood a long path made of light. It rose slightly, leading to a platform at the base of the tower. Darren walked slowly down the path. He felt small. His footsteps echoed through the chamber. The air was filled with a humming sound like a quiet song sung by the walls themselves. When he reached the platform, he saw something that made him freeze. A statue. But not just any statue. It looked exactly like him. Same face, same height, same eyes. Darren stared in shock. Was this a trick? Suddenly, the statue's eyes lit up. A soft white glow came from them. Then, a voice filled the room, deep, calm, and full of ancient power. "Welcome, Darren." He took a step back. "How? Do you know my name?" "I am the mind of Orlan. I see all. I remember all. Your arrival was known before you were born." Darren felt the ground shift under his thoughts. "What do you mean?" "This city was built to survive. It needed a protector. A human mind to guide it, shape it, speak for it. You are the one chosen." "Why me?" Darren asked. "I'm no leader. I'm just a man who no one believed." The voice replied gently, "That is why you were chosen. You did not need power. You needed purpose, and you never gave up. Others forgot what it means to wonder, but you remembered." Darren looked up. "At the Great Tower, what is this place? Why was it hidden?" The mind of Orlan paused before answering. This city was the last hope of the first travelers, humans who left Earth long ago. They had knowledge far beyond today. They built Orlan to escape war, but in time they feared they would be found. So they locked it away and left behind a key. That key was the map you followed, the stories you believed, and the stone tablet you carried. Darren pulled the tablet from his bag and looked at it. The glowing symbols now pulsed softly, matching the light of the tower. The voice continued, "Orlan is not just a city. It is a vault of human memory, of science, art, history. It holds secrets lost to Earth for thousands of years. But it needs a voice, a human to awaken it fully." Darren looked down. "You want me to stay here? Forever?" "The path ahead is your choice. But if you enter the core and connect with the mind, you will not return the same. You will gain knowledge, but you will give up your old life." He stayed quiet for a long time. 20 years. He had been laughed at, mocked, pushed aside. And now he stood in the center of a lost human city, speaking to a machine older than anything on Vora-7. He had proved them all wrong. But what now? He looked at the glowing core door at the base of the tower. It pulsed with a steady beat, like a heart. Then he looked at the statue that looked like him. Its eyes still glowed. It was waiting. A strange peace filled Darren's chest. "I want to see it," he said. "I want to know the truth." The ground shook softly. "Then take the next step," said the mind of Orlan. The door to the core opened. Darren walked toward it, slow but sure. Inside, the walls were alive with light. Symbols moved like water. Colors danced in patterns he didn't understand. At the center stood a floating orb, bright, clear, and full of swirling shapes. It was the mind itself. Darren reached out. As his hand touched the orb, a burst of light surrounded him. His thoughts became heavy, then light, then fast. Memories rushed into him, not just his own, but others too. He saw the first travelers building the city. He saw stars being mapped. He saw humans flying ships made of light. He saw wars, peace, hope. His eyes filled with tears. He was no longer just Darren. He was becoming something more. Hours passed, or maybe seconds. Time lost meaning. When Darren opened his eyes again, he stood in the same chamber. The orb still floated, but now it pulsed with a gentle blue, and the voice returned, but this time it came from Darren's own lips. "I am Darren, guardian of Orlan." He looked around. The machines stopped. The lights grew brighter. The whole city had awakened. Far above, in the surface city, the floating lights formed a pattern in the sky, a sign that Orlan had returned. Darren stood alone. But for the first time in his life, he was not lost. He was home. Darren stood in silence inside the glowing chamber. His body felt light, as if he had just woken from a long, deep dream. The orb in the center of the room dimmed slowly, its light now calm and steady. His mind, however, was full of strange images, stars, symbols, voices, machines, memories that were not his. He felt knowledge pressing inside his head. He understood parts of it, but much of it was too large, too strange to grasp all at once. He walked slowly out of the core chamber, back through the hallway of light, The moment he stepped outside, the ground beneath him shifted. The peaceful city had changed. The towers, once calm and shining, now moved. Some buildings twisted slowly, like they were alive. The sky above flickered. The floating lights that once followed him now circled high above, blinking in patterns. A loud voice echoed through the city, the same voice he had heard before, but colder now. The guardian must be tested. Orelon cannot be given to the weak. Darren froze. What do you mean? I already passed your test. You have entered the core, but you have not faced the true test. The city must see your heart, your mind, your limits. Before Darren could reply, the ground beneath him opened. He fell. He landed in a dark, round room. The walls were smooth and silver. There were no doors, no windows, just darkness and silence. Then came the first test. A light appeared in the center of the room. It showed a memory one from his childhood. A group of boys stood around him, laughing, mocking his belief in the lost city. "You're crazy, Darren," one boy shouted. "Go chase your ghost cities." The light faded. Then another memory came. His mother, tired, holding his broken tools. "Darren, please stop wasting your time. We have real work. Let go of this dream." More lights followed. Boz warning him. The colony leader rejecting his requests. Laughter, pity, silence. Then the voice. "Returned. You were mocked, forgotten, alone. Why did you continue?" Darren felt a tightness in his chest. These memories hurt. He had buried them, but now they returned, stronger than before. "I continued," he whispered, "because I believed it was real. Because someone had to." The voice did not reply. Instead, the room changed. The floor vanished. Darren fell again, this time into a new place. He landed on a platform above a deep canyon. Far below, glowing blue liquid moved like a river. Ahead, a narrow bridge stretched over the canyon. It swayed slightly, and mist rose from below. A machine waited at the start of the bridge. It looked like a tall figure made of light and wires, with a human-like shape but no face. "Cross," the machine said. "If your faith is strong, the bridge will hold. If not, you will fall." Darren looked down at the bridge. It was thin. It did not look strong. He took a deep breath. Step by step, he moved forward. The bridge wobbled. The wind blew harder. He could barely see the other side. Halfway across, the machine's voice called again. "You do not know the full truth. What if the city lied? What if this is all a trap?" Darren stopped. Fear crawled into his thoughts, but he shook his head. "I have seen enough to know it's real. I don't need all the answers now." He kept walking. When he reached the end, the bridge vanished behind him. The machine bowed its head. "You may continue." The next room was different. It looked like a desert. The sky above was gray. A small campfire burned in the center. A figure sat beside it. Darren's eyes widened. It was himself, but older. Tired, sad. The older Darren looked up. "You came all this way, but what did you gain? You left your world behind. You gave up everything." The real Darren said nothing. The older version stood. "You have no family, no friends. They all forgot you. You'll die in this city, alone." The words hurt. Yes, Darren had no family. No close friends except Boz, and Boz was too old to follow. Still, Darren looked into the eyes of his older self. "I didn't come for them. I came for something bigger. This city, it's more than a dream. It's hope, for others, for the future." The older Darren smiled sadly and disappeared into dust. The final test came in a quiet garden. Darren sat on a bench made of light. Soft music filled the air. A voice whispered, gentle and kind, "You can leave, Darren. We will erase your memory. You'll go home. Live in peace. No more pain. No more questions." For a moment he felt peace, but then he thought of the tower. The knowledge, the faces of the humans who built Orlan long ago. No, he said firmly. I don't want to forget. I don't want to leave. This is my path. The garden faded. Darren opened his eyes. He was back in the great dome chamber. The floating machines circled him slowly. Lights flashed above. The city was awake. Then the voice spoke again, but this time warmer. You have passed. Your heart is true. Your belief is strong. Orlan accepts you. The city lights changed. Roads opened. The tower in the center shone brighter than ever before. Darren felt the energy of the city flow through him. The knowledge from the core began to make sense. He could read the symbols now. He understood the machines. Orlan had tested him, and he had proven himself. He was not just a visitor anymore. He was the guardian. Darren stood in the heart of the city, surrounded by glowing towers, moving lights, and humming energy. After passing all the tests, he was no longer just an explorer. He was now connected to Orlan, the ancient city that had waited for a human to return. The machines around him moved slowly, not as guards anymore, but as servants ready to follow his command. The blue light above him formed a circle, and once again, the voice of Orlan spoke. Darren, guardian of Orlan, you are ready to know the truth. Darren took a deep breath. He had waited 20 years for this moment, the moment when the mystery would finally unfold. A wide path opened before him, leading toward a golden door. As he walked forward, the walls around him showed glowing pictures, moving like holograms. He saw humans building ships. He saw stars, galaxies, strange planets. He saw war. Inside the room, a round table floated in the center. Around it, glowing shapes spun in the air. Planets, moons, stars, and thin lines connecting them all. Darren stepped closer. The voice of Orlan returned, but now it felt closer, almost like it was inside his mind. Long ago, humans left Earth. They spread across space. Some looked for peace, some for power. The first travelers were different. They came not to conquer, but to protect knowledge, art, and life. The images changed. Darren saw a group of people standing around a table, just like this one. Their faces looked tired but determined. They built Orlan as a safe place, hidden from war. This city was not just a shelter. It was a vault of all human knowledge, language, history, medicine, science. Even secrets Earth had forgotten. Darren stared at the spinning shapes above the table. They were hiding, he whispered. Yes, said the voice. They feared the rise of a powerful alien race, a species that destroyed worlds and erased civilizations. They called it the Silent Sky. It had no voice, no warning. It would come like a shadow, take everything, then vanish. Darren's eyes widened. What happened to them? The image changed again. He saw a giant ship leaving a planet. He saw fire falling from the sky. Cities turning to dust. The first travelers sent their families to distant places. Some returned to Earth. Some vanished. Orlan was sealed. Only someone human, someone with belief, could open it again. Darren looked down. So, I was the one. The key. Yes, your belief awakened Orlan. Your path unlocked the gates. Now the city is ready to serve again. But its purpose is not just to teach, it is to protect. The walls around the room lit up with more images. Darren saw maps of space. Red. Lines moved across star systems. One line was heading toward the edge of human colonies. The Silent Sky has returned. It moves slowly, but it will reach this system. Vora 7 is not safe. Darren felt a cold chill inside him. So we must warn the others, he said quickly. We must tell the colony. Yes, but more than that, we must prepare them. The humans of today have forgotten the strength of the past. They build machines, but they do not understand true creation. They travel in space, but they do not respect the stars. Orlan must guide them. The golden door behind him opened. Inside was a long room filled with strange objects, old earth books, machines floating in the air, crystals pulsing with power, suits made of light, and weapons shaped like thoughts. It was the vault. This is the knowledge of the first travelers. Only the guardian may use it. You must study it, understand it, and teach the others. Darren walked into the room. He touched a small crystal. At once, images flooded his mind, blueprints of ships, formulas for healing, codes for energy. It was like reading 1,000 books in 1 second. He pulled his hand away, breathing fast. It's too much. You are only at the beginning, said the voice. You have time, but not forever. The threat grows each day. Darren sat on the floor, looking around at the glowing machines. He felt both proud and afraid. All his life, people had called him foolish. But now he was holding the future in his hands, for the next few days or maybe weeks. Since time was strange in Auralon, Darren studied. He touched the crystals, read the glowing texts, spoke to the machines, and walked the learning halls. He learned about energy fields, gravity control, memory storage, human biology, and star maps. Each night, when he rested in a room built for the guardian, the city shared dreams with him, dreams of Earth before the stars, and of a future that had not yet come. One day, he stood before the map again. He pointed to Vora 7. We must contact them, he said. A panel rose from the floor, a simple black screen with a glowing circle. Speak, said Auralon. Darren cleared his throat. This is Darren of Auralon, he said slowly. To the people of Vora 7, I bring news. The city is real. The stories are true, and danger is coming. We must prepare. He paused. I was once the man you laughed at, but now I carry the voice of the past, and I will not be silent. Across Vora 7, far above the surface, machines buried in stone lit up for the first time in centuries. A message echoed across the skies. Auralon has awakened, and with it, the return of human power and hope. Darren stood at the top of the tower inside Auralon. The sky above the city was no longer dark. It shimmered with soft blue and gold lights. The machines flew in smooth circles, like they were dancing. The buildings no longer shifted. Everything was calm for now, but inside Darren, a storm was rising. He had sent the message to the people of Vora 7. He had warned them about the silent sky. He had begun to study the great vault of knowledge. But he knew something more was coming, something bigger than all he had faced. Auralon spoke to him again. You have done well, Guardian, but there's one last choice to make. Darren turned slowly. What kind of choice? A platform rose before him, glowing with silver light. At its center was a round pod, shaped like a large egg, covered in crystal lines. The core of Auralon is not just a machine. It is alive with memory, power, and spirit. For it to grow stronger, it must merge with a human mind. That mind must be yours. Darren felt his hands tighten. You mean I will become part of the city? Yes, your thoughts will become its thoughts. You will still be you, but more. Your body will rest, but your mind will live in every wall, every machine, every light. You will become the soul of Auralon. Darren stepped back. He had wanted to prove the city was real. He had wanted to find the truth, but he never thought it would cost him his life. Will I ever leave? He asked. No, you will not return to the surface. You will not walk under the real sky again. But through you, Auralon will rise. And through Auralon, your people will survive. Darren sat down at the edge of the platform. He remembered Boz's voice. That place isn't just rock and wind. Something's there. Boz was right. He remembered his mother's words. Stop wasting time, Darren. But it wasn't a waste. Not. Now he remembered the children laughing at him. The colony guards shaking their heads. The miners telling him to quit. And now, all of them would hear his voice in the sky. Darren looked at the pod. Its crystal surface reflected his face, tired, older, but no longer broken. He stood. "Let's begin," he said softly. The pod opened. Inside the pod, the walls were warm and soft. Light wrapped around his body like a gentle blanket. He laid down and closed his eyes. Machines moved quietly. They touched his head, his chest, his arms. His heart beat faster, then slower. His thoughts became lighter. The walls began to glow brighter. The voice of Aurelon became quieter, no longer speaking with sound, but inside his mind. "You are brave. You are chosen. Let the connection begin." In one strong pulse of light, everything changed. Darren's body rested inside the pod, still, peaceful, but his mind was flying. He saw the city from above. He felt its energy. He heard every signal, every sound. He could feel the thoughts of machines, the movement of light, the heartbeat of the walls. He had become part of it. He was no longer just Darren. He was the guardian mind of Aurelon. Now, Darren could do more than just see. He could create, with a thought. He opened tunnels. With another, he lit up towers. He sent messages across old systems. He called satellites back to life. He read ancient texts in seconds. He moved machines with his will. Aurelon was awake, fully awake, for the first time in thousands of years. But Darren was not drunk with power. He was still the same man who had once walked dusty paths alone. He remembered pain. He remembered doubt. He used that memory to guide him. He began to rebuild. Over the next few days, the people of Vora 7 began to notice strange things. Old machines that had never worked suddenly came online. Screens in their homes flickered with blue light. A new voice spoke to them, calm and wise. "This is the guardian of Aurelon. Do not fear. Prepare. Learn. Come closer." At first, many were afraid. Some thought it was a trick, but Boz believed. The old miner stood outside the colony wall, looking at the red sky. "That's Darren," he said with a smile. "I knew the boy would do it." 1 week later, small flying machines arrived at the colony. They did not attack. Instead, they opened and shared books, tools, small crystals that played music, and simple devices that could clean water or heal wounds. Aurelon was reaching out, helping, teaching. And slowly, the people began to understand. Darren had not gone mad. He had become something more. Deep inside the city, Darren continued to learn. He studied the threat of the silent sky, the enemy that had destroyed many before. He could see their ships moving across the stars. He could feel the danger growing closer. But now he had the tools. Aurelon had ships too hidden, buried, waiting. It had shields, codes, weapons of light. And most of all, it had knowledge. Darren would not let his people be destroyed. He had given up his life above ground, but not for nothing. One night, as the red planet turned under the stars, the people of Vora 7 saw something strange. A beam of golden light shot into the sky from the distant hills, from the place once called the Black Mouth. Then, thousands of tiny lights rose into the sky, forming a great shield that covered the colony. It was beautiful. It was powerful. It was Aurelon, protecting its children. And at the heart of it all was Darren. The glowing shield above Vora 7 shimmered in the red sky. It was a great dome of light, stretching over the colony like a protective bubble. The people below watched with wide eyes. They did not fully understand what had happened, but they felt safe. For the first time in many years, they felt hope. Inside the city of Aurelon, Darren's mind was awake and strong. He was no longer just a man. He was the soul of the city. He could see everything. Every machine, every light, every signal. But despite all his power, Darren still felt the weight of sacrifice. He missed the sun on his face. He missed the wind in the open air. He missed the simple touch of a friend. Boz, the old miner, stood outside the colony wall, staring at the shield. He smiled softly. "They called him crazy," Boz whispered. "But he saved us all." The silent sky moved closer. In the darkness beyond the stars, ships of shadow and silence drifted toward Vora 7. They were strange machines, alive but not alive, without voice or mercy. But Darren was ready. He sent commands through the city. Hidden ships awakened beneath the surface of the planet. Powerful weapons came online, beams of light and energy that could cut through the cold void of space. Darren watched the battle from the mind of Orlan. The silent sky attacked first, fast and deadly. They sent waves of ships to strike the colony, but Orlan's shield held firm. The golden dome flashed with energy as beams met beams. The battle was long. It was hard, but the colony did not fall, because Darren was there during the fight. The people of Vora 7 learned to work together like never before. Farmers helped engineers. Teachers worked with miners. They built new machines with parts sent by Orlan. They trained under the city's guidance. The colony was changing. No longer weak or afraid. They were becoming strong. Deep inside Orlan, Darren felt a sharp pain. The connection with the city was not easy. The more he gave, the more his human self faded. He remembered his life on the surface, the cold nights, the lonely days, the laughter of the children who once mocked him. But he also remembered Boz's words, "You are the guardian, our hope." Darren smiled. He accepted the change. At the end of the battle, the silent sky retreated. They left no message. No warning, only silence. The colony was safe for now. After the fight, Darren sent a message to the people of Vora 7. "The war is not over," his voice said gently through the city's machines. "But we are ready. We will protect our home, together." The people cheered. For the first time, they believed in the future. Years passed. Under Darren's guidance, the colony grew. New cities rose. Ships flew beyond Vora 7. The people remembered the stories of the first travelers. They built new ships. Inspired by Orlan's designs, they learned to live with the stars, not just beneath them. One day, Boz sat by the edge of a new city. A young girl came to him, holding a small crystal that glowed softly. "Tell me about Darren," she said. Boz smiled and took the crystal. "He was a man who believed in dreams," he said. "He found a secret city and gave his life to save us all. He became more than a man. He became our guardian." The girl looked up at the stars. "Do you think he watches us?" Boz nodded. "Every night. He's in the light above us, guiding us home." Far below, in the heart of Orlan, Darren's mind rested. He was no longer alone. The city and the man were one. Together, they waited for the next dawn.